I knew that Jackie and her daughter's relationship was strained. I didn't know to the extent or the degree.
Like the damage that she did to me and my sister's relationship, she won't even take accountability for. At this point, it's just like a fake, I have to keep talking to you so you won't go talk about me on Twitter and talk about me on Facebook and
So you
tell
think
your side of the
genuinely
story.
she doesn't care?
Why else would you speak about your daughter like this?
Let's take a moment to talk about Christie. If you know anything about him, you probably know that this guy isn't one for drama. Has always been the calm and level-headed type, the kind of person who handles situations without losing his cool. But recently, something happened that made snap, and I'm not talking about a simple argument or a little raised voice. No, this was a full-on explosion of emotions, something so intense that it shocked everyone who knows him. Now, for someone like who's been known for his calm and peaceful nature for years, to suddenly lose his temper, that tells you that something serious happened.
I want to give her the opportunity to say everything that she's had to say about me to me. Get bold. You had all of these things to say. Oh, she's a hoe, she's messing with his friend, she's doing this, she's doing that. Say it.
Has always been all about family, loyalty, and staying away from unnecessary mess. But whatever went down this time pushed him beyond his breaking point. The big question is, what did Chantel do to make her father so angry? Because trust me, it takes a lot to make lose his cool. From how he reacted, it's clear that this wasn't just a small argument, this was something much deeper, something that really shook him up. And when you hear what happened, everything will start to make sense. Let's rewind a bit. Before completely lost it, he had already started to feel like something wasn't right. You know that gut feeling you sometimes get when you just know something is off, but can't figure out what? That's exactly where was. And when someone like him, who usually keeps to himself and stays calm, starts feeling uneasy, you know that something serious is happening. It all started with Jackie, Doe's wife. Doe knows her better than anyone, so when she started acting strange, he immediately noticed. She was avoiding certain topics, being extra careful with her phone, and just acting differently. And let's be real, when people start getting secretive like that, it's usually because they're hiding something. Then there was Chantel. She wasn't acting like herself either. Doe caught her slipping up in conversations, dodging simple questions and acting nervous for no reason. It was like she was trying too hard to act normal, which only made Doe more suspicious. One thing about Doe is that he may be calm, but he's always paying attention. So when he started noticing these odd behaviors, he couldn't ignore them. Something wasn't right, and he was determined to figure it out. As Doe kept putting the pieces together, things started clicking. And that's when he found something that made his stomach drop: a DNA test. At first, his reaction was one of confusion. Wait, what?
I came here because you brought the friend into the situation. So I just want you to tell me, face to face, that it was the friend that I was.
Who even took this test? And why is it here? Then he saw the name on the paper, Chantel. That's when it hit him hard. There was a secret DNA test in his house with his daughter's name on it, and the results weren't what he expected. In that moment, it became clear that someone had been keeping a huge secret from him, something that could shake their entire family to the core. Doe had questions, and he needed answers fast. Doe wasn't one to let things slide, especially when it came to his family. So, the moment he had the facts, he went straight to the source. No beating around the bush, no wasting time. He walked right up to Chantel, put the DNA test in front of her, and said, "Explain this." The look on Chantel's face was priceless. She looked down at the paper, then up at Doe, then back at the paper, almost like she was hoping the words on the test would magically change. But, spoiler alert, they didn't. And then, she went silent. If you've ever asked someone a direct question and they take a little too long to answer, you know what that silence means. It's guilt. And Doe noticed it immediately. He folded his arms, leaned in just a little, and hit her with that serious dad tone, "Chantel, I'm waiting." At this point, you could probably hear a pin drop in the room. Chantel knew she was caught, and there was no way out. Doe wasn't going to let her off the hook, and she had no excuses ready. He could see it in her face. This wasn't just some misunderstanding. This was something she had been hiding, and now she had no choice but to come clean. But before Chantel could say anything, guess who burst into the room like a referee breaking up a fight? Jackie. She rushed in between them, waving her hands around, trying to defuse the situation. Doe turned to her with a look that said it all. If there's one thing you don't do, it's try to stop Doe in the middle of a serious conversation. And then, it hit him. Doe looked at Jackie and asked, "Oh, so you knew about this?" Jackie's face said it all, the guilt was all over her. She started stammering, trying to find the right words, but at that point, Doe already had all the confirmation he needed. Jackie knew, and that was the moment Doe completely lost it. He was already angry, but now, realizing that his own wife was involved in the lie, he was furious. Doe turned to Jackie, his eyes locked on hers, and in a voice that was low and firm, he asked, "Who is it?" Jackie tried to dodge the question, trying to delay, but Doe wasn't having it. His patience was running thin, and he kept pressing her. Finally, Jackie cracked. She dropped a name, and when I tell you Doe's entire world came crashing down in that moment, I mean it. The person Jackie mentioned was the last person Doe ever expected. His face went blank, as if his brain needed a second to process what he'd just heard. Then, it hit him hard. Doe took a step back, his fists clenched, and his jaw locked. He started pacing, like a man trying to hold back every ounce of rage from exploding. This wasn't just a small betrayal, this was something that changed everything. Doe's whole world just flipped upside down, and there was no going back. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Chantel broke down. She was crying, her face buried in her hands, struggling to catch her breath between sobs.
You have this castle and this man and this blended family. Go fix it. Go fix dinner. Why are you here?
I didn't mean for it to happen this way, she kept saying. I never wanted it to come out like this. But Doe wasn't in the mood for any of that. He took a deep breath, looked at her, and said the one thing that cut deeper than any yelling ever could. "You had all this time to tell me the truth, and you wait until I find out on my own." Chantel just shook her head, her tears still falling. But Doe wasn't letting it slide. You don't accidentally hide something like this for years. And that's when Jackie lost it too. She was crying, pleading with Doe, saying, "Please, I can explain," but Doe wasn't hearing it. This wasn't a mistake. It was years of lies and deception. Doe had always put his family first, but now this was a betrayal that went beyond anything he could forgive. Doe looked at Jackie and Chantel, two of the people he loved most in this world, and then, without a word, he walked away. No yelling, no slamming doors, no final words, just silence. And for the first time in his life, Doe didn't know if he could ever forgive them. This wasn't just a mistake, it was a choice that had been kept from him for years. A choice that made him question everything about his family, his relationship with Chantel, and his trust in Jackie. Now Doe has to decide, does he even want to try to move forward from this? Because let's face it, some betrayals don't just heal overnight. In Doe's mind, the people who were supposed to have his back had been keeping secrets from him for years. And one thing's for sure, Christie will never look at his family the same way again. Some people have said that Doe walking away instead of exploding just shows how broken he is. One person commented that Jackie's tears don't mean anything because she had years to tell the truth and didn't. Another person said that Doe deserves better because he always put his family first, and this is how they repay him. But the real question is, should Doe forgive them, or is this kind of betrayal too much to come back from? And let's talk about Chantel for a second. Was she really the one to blame here? Or did Jackie set her up for failure from the start? If Jackie had just told the truth from the beginning, would things have turned out differently?